Hi, I'm Sam, the inner voice and self-trust coach for women who refuse to choose between career success and being fully present with their kids. This is Journal Entries, where we break free from self-sabotage, reconnect with our inner wisdom, and feel truly fulfilled in everything we do. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Journal Entries. This is going to be a 3-part series where I am taking the ever so popular Let Them theory by Mel Robbins and helping you to actually apply it to your life. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to use the Let Them theory to reclaim your energy. Part 2 is going to be a journaling session with me, about 5 minutes, where we will be journaling through the Let Them theory and applying it to your life in a way where you'll be able to identify energy drains in your life, writing yourself a permission slip, and even creating boundaries for yourself. And then part 3 is the Let Them theory in action, as I call it, where I'm going to be giving you more tactical things, rituals, strategies, and scripts for your most triggering moments as a working mom. I'm really excited because I know that you're going to get so much out of this series. And the Let Them theory is not only a book that I'm sure you've heard about on social media, you're probably already reading it, or it's on your to-do list to read this book, but this has come up so frequently in my coaching as well, whether it's in my private coaching sessions or my group coaching. There have been so many times since I've started reading this book where I find that the solution, or one of the solutions to what my clients are bringing to me, is simply let them. So that's what we're going to tap into today. In a nutshell, the Let Them theory is about accepting that you can't control other people's actions, thoughts, or feelings, letting go of trying to manage what other people think or do, then redirecting that energy to what you can actually control, like your own responses, and then using quote unquote let them as a mantra to release what drains you, and complementing it with quote unquote let me to reclaim your energy and choices. As working moms, though, I want to acknowledge that we face unique challenges with this concept. We are literally paid to manage things and be responsible for small humans who need guidance at the same time. We are constantly context switching between professional roles, whether that be managing employees. When I worked at General Electric, I was managing projects. Or maybe you're just managing yourself and in charge of how you show up and being quote unquote on at work every day. And then your responsibilities as a mom to keep your kids alive and fed and mostly happy. I believe that there are 3 key scenarios or situations where working moms struggle the most with letting go. And that is number 1, morning transitions, getting everybody out the door. That's where we're most likely trying to control our kids or trying to control time even. The second situation is work boundaries, potentially managing your colleagues and bosses or trying to control what others think of you. The third situation is evening transitions. This is coming home from work to your family. What this looks like is trying to turn off. Take that work hat off, switch on mom mode, but then it turns into trying to control our kids, following the routine that we have laid out for them. Maybe trying to control if your partner helps out and how, and maybe what they're supposed to be doing exactly. And maybe a few other things pop into your head because there's so much that we do at nighttime. These trigger points and these situations deplete our energy before we ever even get to the moments that matter, which I would argue is the time with our kids when we want to be present and patient and make memories with them. They want us to be patient and present and there just as much as we want to be there in that way as well. There's actually research on the cost of control. I found a research article from the American Psychological Association that shows that the perceived lack of control is one of the primary triggers for chronic stress. Their 2020 Stress in America survey found that constantly trying to control others' behavior was linked to higher cortisol levels and decreased well-being. This physiological stress response directly impacts your energy levels and ability to be present with your children. So, I'm going to give you my 3-step framework to reclaim your energy during these scenarios using the let them theory. Step 1. This is about catching yourself in real time when you're trying to control others. Step 1 is always about awareness and noticing. So notice your physical cues. Do you have tension in your shoulders, maybe in your neck? Do you have faster breathing? Are you short-tempered with your kids or boss? What are your thought patterns? Maybe you often think, why can't they just, or if only they would. Those are typical ways that we start off sentences or thoughts when we're trying to control something. There are also usually emotional signs that indicate we are trying to control something, potentially frustration, resentment, disappointment, or even bitterness. So go through your physical cues, thought patterns, and emotional signs when you're trying to control others. Step 2. This is the energy audit, assessing what is this control attempt costing me? Ask yourself, is this worth my limited emotional energy? We only have so much energy to give and to keep ourselves every day. So, is putting so much attention and energy into this worth it? Ask, what am I sacrificing by focusing here on this instead of myself? How is this affecting my ability to be present in other areas? Another study that I found from the Journal of Occupational Health Psychology found that women who maintained clearer boundaries between work and home reported 40% lower burnout rates and significantly higher life satisfaction. This research supports the idea that letting them at work and stopping the tendency to overfunction directly contributes to our capacity to show up fully at home. I have talked about this on the podcast before about how I'm not good at multitasking anymore. And I used to think that that was a bad thing. I would almost judge myself for how I can either be in mom mode, where I feel like I am present and a really great mom, or work mode, and I'm present and really great at what I do at work. And the moment that I try to blend the two, which is mandatory some days, but 99% of the time it's not. And when I try to blend the two, that's when I become frustrated and overstimulated, and I just cannot handle it. And I used to judge myself for that. But with this research and what I'm learning in other ways as well, is that it's actually a benefit. It's a good thing to be able to separate out different areas of our life. And that will lower your burnout rate, burning out in work, but also burning out as a mom. A good way to question your own capacity is by asking those questions regarding your energy and its relation to whatever it is that you're trying to control. Step 3 is the redirect. This is channeling that reclaimed energy by not engaging in whatever it is that you are trying to control towards what you actually can control. So this is your let them moment, shifting focus to your response, not theirs. Like I mentioned, right after let them, there's let me. So this is the moment where you let them do whatever it is that they're doing, think whatever it is that they're thinking, and then let me take action in the way that feels aligned for me. Maybe you need to set a boundary instead of trying to change them. Boundary setting, I think, is such a big topic. I don't know, it feels so big. When I hear the word boundary, I almost want to just be like, yeah, I'll get to that someday. I literally just with my hand just kind of brushed it away because it feels so big, like such a big task to do. And it also seems like once you set the boundary, then there's the action of actually holding the boundary. So if you struggle with boundaries, stay tuned again for the Journal with Me episode on Thursday, because I will walk you through how to set a boundary in an area that will be helpful for you immediately, and it won't feel so big. Another thing that might be helpful for you in this redirect, in the let them, let me, is creating a micro moment of peace. That is something that we will be breaking down in part 3 next week. But let's get into some real life application of that 3-step framework. The first scenario that we were talking about is that morning chaos. So putting this into real life with the let them theory, instead of maybe saying to your kids, I've told you 3 times to put on your shoes, why aren't you listening? You could try saying, you're having trouble with your shoes this morning. Let me set a 2-minute timer and I'll be in the car when it goes off. That's an example of you essentially saying, let them have trouble putting on their shoes. Let them say no to putting on their shoes. Let me have the boundary of setting a timer, and I'm going to keep getting ready and get in the car. This is obviously ideal if you have older kids. If you have a 4-year-old like myself, you could do what I do, which is where I would say something like, you're having trouble with your shoes this morning. Let me go grab them for you. Would you like to put them on in the house or in the car? And I would be fine with putting them on in the house, or maybe carrying him out of the house, kicking and screaming, which I've definitely done before, and then putting them on in the car. The second scenario with work boundaries, instead of saying, my colleague keeps interrupting me in meetings and it's driving me crazy, you could try saying, let them interrupt. Let me speak directly to the decision maker after the meeting. So you're letting your coworkers be themselves and taking ownership over what you will do afterwards. Or in the third scenario, the evening transition from work to home, instead of saying or thinking, why is the house always a mess when I get home? Nobody helps around here. Try switching that to, let them leave things messy. Let me take 5 minutes to decompress before engaging. A really cool story that I want to share with you is my client, Jess. Jess has MS, and she had a semi-recent flare, and I believe that she unintentionally has been using the let them theory and my let them framework when she was going through her flare and still working at the time. There was a lot going on at her office where she was working remote and her job was fully capable of being a remote job. Yet there was a lot of tension between the bosses and the perception that her bosses had towards the work that was being done. They wanted her to be able to come into the office, even though, again, that role did not require in-person participation in any way. Initially, Jess felt very strongly about this and what her bosses thought of her and what her coworkers thought of her. And eventually, through journaling, she stopped trying to control her boss's perceptions during this time. And she redirected that energy toward herself, her own worth, and her boundaries instead. Simply by letting them be who they were, and by switching the focus to her actions, Jess has become so much more empowered than she already was. And it's been so incredible to watch. So in a nutshell, the 3 steps to reclaim your energy is to first catch yourself trying to control. Second, check the impact that has on your energy. And 3, let them and let me. Just a reminder that this isn't about giving up. It's about choosing where to invest your precious time and energy so that you can invest it in the places and in the people that you want to. Again, join me this Thursday for a special Journal with Me episode where I'll be guiding you through powerful prompts to identify your control patterns and transform them. And then next week, we'll dive deeper into specific strategies and scripts and rituals for applying the let them theory during your most triggering moments as a working mom. I would love to hear if you have already read the Let Them theory, or if it's on your list, or if this is the first time that you might be hearing about it. So send me a DM over on Instagram or Facebook to let me know, and let's chat about it. If there's anything that pops up for you today that you realize that you're trying to control, utilize this let them and let me know how it goes. Thanks for joining me for today's journal entry. If something resonated with you, I'd love to know about it. Screenshot this episode, share it on social media, and tag me at samantha.s.says. Or even leave a review, which will help more women find this podcast to create more fulfillment in their career and as a mom. And hey, if you're thinking, I wish I could get more of this, I've got you covered. Click on the link in the show notes, which I customize each week based on what we're talking about. And I always include the link to the Calm Mind Blueprint, which are my 5 journal prompts to go from overwhelm to inner peace in 2 to 10 minutes a day. Subscribe so that you catch my Thursday 5-minute Journal with Me episodes and next week's full episode where we will continue this journey together. I'll see you then.